Welcome to Mile High Livewires. Each week, we bring you high-energy leaders from the community to share their stories and their strategies to thrive in challenging times. My name is Matthew Ponzi. Now let's get started. I'm sitting here with Jimmy Nigg today, the owner of the Monkey Barrel in, is that Globeville, technically the neighborhood? Is that right?
Sunnyside.
Sunnyside, that's right. The realtor should know, right? So anyways, we're going to do a recorded interview and talk a little bit about your business. We'd like to learn what your experience has been like going through the COVID pandemic and how you're making it happen. So first and foremost, you guys originally opened a location on 16th and Platt, right?
Right.
Cool.
2013.
Yeah. So what was your experience like there?
Well, it started off really slow, and probably within the first year, things just picked up, and they never stopped. It just, once it got going, it just kept getting busier and busier, and we were doing live music. And when we first started, nobody was there. Some guys would come in and bands would play and musicians would come in and play, but we continued to book those musicians every Friday. And then we kind of got known for having the music on Friday and Saturday nights, and we got known for having great beer selection. We had 20 craft beers, and we had a really great patio, and eventually we had to close down.
Now that was in, from what the little research I did beforehand, in 2017. Is that?
Yeah, it was, unfortunately, it was like right after, I feel like we just started getting going, and we just started getting, crowds in there, that our landlord informed us that the building had been sold, and that the new company coming in wasn't going to allow us to stay in. So then from there, it was just a negotiation on how that was going to end.
And what did you do before Monkey Barrel? Were you always in the restaurant and bar industry, or?
I started Rockabilly's in Arvada with my brother, and back in 2010. That was the first bar that I opened, and we opened it up as a live music venue and bar that was supposed to be a little bit of food, but mostly a live music venue with a bar, and then just turned into a full-fledged restaurant. And I was running that place for about 3 years before we opened a Monkey Barrel.
Yeah, and they have an awesome open mic night. Well, in a normal sort of situation, when there's not a pandemic, you guys have a phenomenal open stage. In fact, the only open stage I found anywhere near Denver where you have a drum kit where people could just come sit in on. So
yeah, it's been, we actually took over a live music program from Ziggy's when they were forced out of their property there on 38th. We took over Ziggy's open mic night, and then it became Mile High Blues Society open mic night. It's gone really well, and we're gonna be excited to get that back going again.
Cool. So going back to the relocation from when you were on Platt Street to where you are now, what were some of the challenges that you experienced with the relocation? Was it basically like starting over?
It was. We had hoped that when we opened that we were going to have a lot of our following come back up to Monkey Barrel. We weren't that far. We're not that far up the road from where we were on Platt Street, but it just didn't happen. There's not a lot of foot traffic in the Sunnyside neighborhood. There's not a lot of foot traffic around the park right now, or at least when we opened. It's getting better, but the major hurdle was getting our license approved. We transferred our license over from the Platt Street location to the Sunnyside location, and I didn't think it was going to be a problem, but there were some guys in the neighborhood that protested and fought us to have live music, and we had to go to war a little bit with some of those guys that didn't want it, even though the majority of the neighborhood supported us. There were some guys in there that had some connections that used to be on the neighborhood association that still had those connections with the city, and the city councilman opposed us at the meeting with the city. So it wasn't easy, but we got our license.
So is that like a cabaret license?
Yeah, it's a special events cabaret license. There's different types. So you can have a acoustic cabaret license, you can have a live music cabaret license, you can have a dance floor nightclub cabaret license, and we have a amplified music license, which allows us to have DJs and full bands.
Awesome. Yeah, normally you guys host a lot of events, like everything from like the retro video game tournaments, and then of course the live music. So, what have you been doing recently since you can't host live events? Like, have you been doing virtual events, or what have you been doing to keep your customers engaged and stay in front of them?
It it wasn't an easy decision. I mean, we had an opportunity to stay open and still serve um, to go food and to go drinks, but for us, it was the delivery was set up through Grubhub and Uber Eats, and those companies have raised their prices up to 30% for delivery, uh, and you just don't make any money on food. It's if somebody comes in and orders a to-go drink, sure, I can maybe get an extra $10 in the register, but then you got to pay your employees, you got to pay the people in the kitchen and everything else. So for some places, I guess it's working out. I've been to a couple of restaurants that are just crushing it right now, and I've been to a couple of restaurants that are struggling. But for us, it wasn't worth it to stay open. And I wish there was a way for us to kind of keep engaged with our customers with video game tournaments and trivia and all the things that we do. But we just haven't figured out a way to put that together. We're hoping that we can just get our doors back open.
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that, and this is something that we could either keep on the record or not. Are you familiar with Inga's down in Southeast Denver?
Yeah, Lee Jones' place.
Yeah. So what they're doing, which is pretty cool, that I thought might be a good idea to pass along to you, is they're doing a when you come and you do takeout, they give you if it's like a certain amount that you end up paying in a food order and then get one of their to-go drinks, then they give you a bingo card, and then they do like a Zoom sort of bingo where they get everybody on, they get everybody involved, and I don't know what they give away, but I just thought it was kind of a unique sort of creative idea, and yeah, so figured I'd pass that along.
No, actually our guy that hosts our trivia, Brian Collins from Excalibur Mobile Entertainment, is going to start that Sunday, and he's doing a trial run on it to see how it goes. So we'll see how it goes, and if it's something that we can put into place at Monkey Barrel and start doing to-go orders again, we would love to be a part of it.
Awesome. So I mean, what else? What are you doing right now to survive through this thing?
Man, I'm waiting on loans, and I'll tell you, it's I got an email this morning. It was frustrating. The Paycheck Protection Program email I got from Chase today said they ran out of money. I applied for a grant with the city of Denver. No response. I've applied for numerous loans, and I haven't received any money yet. My landlord's asking for rent on May 1st, and so I'm sure everybody's in the same situation that I'm in, and we're all just kind of waiting on money to help us get through the next 2 months. I think June is when we'll be open again. I don't think we're going to be open any sooner than that. I don't think any local restaurants are going to be open any sooner than that. Maybe May 15th will be the first day that we can all reopen, but that doesn't guarantee us customers. It doesn't mean that people are going to feel like they're safe and they're going to feel comfortable going out and sitting in a restaurant or sitting in a bar. So I'm nervous about it, and I'm sure a lot of other restaurant owners and bar owners are too. But the first step is we're hoping to get our money so that we can pay our vendors, and then we can get our employees back on the payroll, and we can get reopened. And all of these things have to come together in order for that to work.
Right. So what advice do you have for other small business owners? Obviously, we're all trying to take advantage of the programs that are out there, but what advice do you have for other small business owners during these challenging times?
I mean, if you're open and you're trying to make it work and you have positive sales, great. But from my perspective, it wasn't worth the risk. If you're not making money, you're paying your vendors, you're paying for waste removal, you're paying for internet, you're paying for credit card processing, you're paying for all of these things that you would normally have to pay for anyways as a fully functioning operation. But if those sales are negative sales and you're not making any money right now, then I don't think it's worth it to be open. Even though you might think, hey, I'm helping out my employees or I'm helping out my staff. If you're going to be in the negative, you're going to be in the negative paying rent. You're going to be in the negative paying your vendors. You're going to be in the negative paying power and utilities. You're going to be in the negative when you start up anyway.
Mm.
This money that's coming into you is going to help you get back on track. It's not going to help you to be even more in debt than you would already be in. So if I was going to say, anything to any local restaurants or bars, it's if you can run your own delivery service, number one, you'd save a ton of money by not having to split that 20-30% commission that DoorDash, Uber Eats, and all these guys are gouging you on right now. But it also gives you the ability to deliver liquor. So if you had your own delivery person, that's about the only way I can see it being worthwhile. It's like when we get back open, my hope is that the governor extends the law or extends the ability to let restaurants and bars deliver alcohol, because I think that's the only way it's going to offset not having 50% of your customers allowed in the bar.
Right.
When you're talking about social distancing and cutting off 50% of your seating or cutting off 50% of your occupancy, well, then how do we make up for that 50% loss? And the only way I can see it working is if we're still allowed to let our customers leave with drinks, and we still have the ability to deliver alcohol and deliver drinks with food. And there's going to be a lot of people that are scared. Like I said before, it's going to be a lot of people that are scared to leave their house. And I think that's the way we're going to, get out of this. It might be only 3 months that they extend your ability to be able to do that. The governor has the power to do that. But I think that's the key. It's going to be how do you make up for the lost revenue? How do you make up for the people that are scared to come in? How do you make up for the people that aren't allowed to come in because you've cut out 50% of your occupancy?
Right. So just kind of switching gears here because I want to keep it fun and engaging. So in the Monkey Barrel, you guys have a lot of really cool rock and roll memorabilia, which as of course I could appreciate having a 1978 Gibson Les Paul in the background here. What's your favorite piece of rock and roll memorabilia that you have at the Monkey Barrel, and what's still on your wish list?
That's a tough one. So go through the list. I had a Beastie Boys licensed deal album signed by all three members of the Beastie Boys with 3 microphones signed by the Beastie Boys. I don't know what concert they were used in, but that's one of my favorite pieces, of course, because I'm a huge Beastie Boys fan. I have a guitar signed by Kurt Cobain and also a drawing from Kurt Cobain. That's another piece. And then I have a Sublime guitar that was signed by Brad, and there's a couple other signatures on there from, I guess, the other members of Sublime, but I've always kind of questioned whether or not those are real, to be honest with you. Yeah. And then I have a Johnny Cash signed guitar that says "Walk the Line."
Oh, that's so cool.
The Johnny Cash guitar that says "Walk the Line" was signed the year before he died, and the only reason I know that is because the guitar has a date inside the guitar. And I've never seen another guitar signed by Johnny Cash that's black. I'm sure he never played it, but it was signed the year before he died, and it says "Walk the Line." Personally, that's my favorite piece. But in terms of value, I would think the Nirvana guitar that was signed by Kurt Cobain is definitely the most valuable, because he wasn't alive long enough to sign a lot of guitars or sign a lot of pieces. So very rare piece on the walls, the Nirvana guitar. I know that's not an answer to your question, but I can't decide.
No, that's totally a legitimate answer. And then the other fun question I have, you being, a bar owner and entrepreneur, if you were to make a drink based off of this pandemic, what would you call it, and what would it include?
Oh. It's got to be something about kids.
Yeah.
It's got to be something about kids and getting away from your kids. I'm going to call it homeschooling. And I'm going to make it a triple something, triple vodka, triple whiskey, anything. It's going to be a triple anything you want, and it's going to be called homeschooling. That's going to be my drink.
That's perfect. Well, Jimmy, thank you so much for your time. It's been really fun and very informative getting to know your perspective on all this, and we'll all make it through it. It's just going to be a challenge for a while, but I appreciate your perspective. And
I think you reached out to me to talk about music. And I should probably end on a positive note here. And one of the things that we're going to do when we get back open, you're a musician yourself, so you'll appreciate this, is I really do want to have musicians there, just kind of hanging out, playing music. We're going to figure out a way to pay them, get their tip jars out. We want them to sell merchandise. We want them in there. I know that they miss playing in front of a live audience, and I know that they're struggling. These are people that, they can't often go out and file for unemployment. They can't go out and get small business loans, but we need to make sure that these guys have jobs when the economy opens back up. We need to make sure that musicians don't give up on playing music, and we have to support them. And anybody who's a live music venue owner, or anybody who has the ability to bring musicians in, should be on the same page with this. I don't want to lose live music. It's important to me. So when we open our doors back up, we want musicians in there playing every single day, 7 days a week, and we'll figure out a way to pay them.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Jimmy. Appreciate it.
You got it, man. Thanks for the time.
Absolutely.